See. With that, let's get started. Our first candidates tonight are going to be our county executive candidates, Melissa Green and Graham Stowe. Guys, welcome up to the stage. As you guys are coming to the stage, right here in front of you, you'll see myself and Tiffany Haygood. We're going to have little signs. We're not going to wave a bunch of signs at you, but when you see that 30-second sign, that's the last one you're going to see before your 2 minutes are up. Okay, just so you guys know. All right, thank you.
Good evening. We'll get started tonight. As we ask these questions, it will be for both candidates, but after the first candidate answers, we will repeat the question if you would like us to. Let me begin with this. Please explain what you understand the duties and authority of the county executive to be and how that fits into your vision for the office over the next 4 years. Melissa, we'll begin with you.
Do we have just a minute to introduce ourselves?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that okay? Okay, good. Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's here tonight and everybody that's going to be watching online. This is a great crowd, and as Graham and I were talking before, we both agree it's good to see so many people are interested in county government. That is a great thing. And like Scott said, we're going to touch on a lot of questions tonight, but with 2 minutes, you don't get many details of the answers. So we are here after this event. If you want to come ask me something, come track me down. You can call me. Catch me in my office or call me at the house, or like I said, we eat a lot of fish over the next couple of months, so come join us at a fish fry. But I do appreciate you being here. The purpose of tonight is to let you know what we stand for and to ask for your vote. I'm running for re-election, and I would appreciate very much your vote of confidence for the job I've done.
Well, I'm echoing several people now, but thank you all for being here. This is a community event. It's not a moment to incite anything at all. We were just talking about that, but there are differences of opinions. I think we can respect those differences, but I'll just give you a little bit of my background because there's a lot of folks that don't know who I am. My name is Graham Stowe. At my age, you don't talk about your education. That's long ago. I have an education. I had a 27-year in the Coast Guard, 27 years, 14 of those were with executive experience. I had a phenomenal career. Some of it was leading men and women at sea, which is a wonderful experience. I did 2 years as military aide to the president. That was not a political appointment. It was a military assignment, but I carried the president's nuclear football. That may not seem relevant, but I find relevance in it because I had no position power, yet I had to manage the president's staff, who was in conflict with lots of other, with Secret Service, number one. So I bring those experiences to the table, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about that. Wrap up. Thank you.
Very good. Now I'll repeat the question. Please explain what you understand the duties and authority of the county executive to be and how that fits into your vision for the office over the next 4 years.
Well, the duties of the county executive's office, the main one is to lead 30,000 Giles Countyans into a better future. Now, the duties specifically of the county executive include running the county offices, and I'll go over those in just a minute, but also the chairman of the commission, if the commission so decides to elect that person to be that position. But to stand and represent the county in important decisions such as economic development. Now, these leadership skills that are needed to be county executive, they include things like working with a variety of personalities and people. You have to be able to sit and discuss with people of all different backgrounds what their ideas are and come to compromises at times in order to keep from stalling out. In addition to these leadership skills, you have to have management abilities. The county government is also a business. As I mentioned, as county executive, you are over several departments, such as human resources, solid waste, our ambulance, emergency management, archives, veteran services, and animal control, to name a few. You have to have the business skill set to be the county executive in order to meet with these department heads and share with them ideas and ways to develop their personnel policies and things like that in order to move our county forward. The county executive is not a dictatorship. A lot of the community thinks that the county executive has more authority than we actually do. But it takes collaboration with lots of different people and lots of different personalities to move our community forward. Thanks.
Okay, and I'm nodding my head all the way through that. I'll pick up the thread where I left off, because a lot of people think that anyone with military experience wears their hat and their stripes and orders people around and gets things done, and that works to an extent. I've also had that experience, particularly when I had a unionized workforce. I had a lot of people who did not work for me, who reported to many different chains of command, and understand completely the role of the leader as a collaborator, not just someone who's an authoritarian. I've looked up what the rules, what the responsibilities are according to the Tennessee Code. There's really not a lot there as far as what the law states, as far as the power of the county executive. I think the position power of the county executive is pretty weak. The power results in developing these relationships, just as Melissa was explaining. I'm in full concurrence. But we need a strategic plan to get that team moving forward. And that's something I feel is lacking in this county, is a plan. We have collaboration and there are relationships, but we don't really have a good idea as far as where we want to go from point A to point B. As a matter of fact, if you talk to different people in different positions in the EDC or a county commissioner or somebody with a school board, there's not a lot of understanding as far as what the cohesive plan is. So everybody wants progress. My point is, I think we need to define what that is, and I think that's the duty and responsibility of the county executive.
All right, next question. From the purview of the county executive's office, please talk about how our county government can protect Giles County from potential nuisance or dangerous property usage while balancing the rights of property owners.
That was protect from nuisance properties, and what was the other issue?
Dangerous property.
Dangerous properties, okay. Okay, I think this is a question that gets lumped in with the land use management plan, and a lot of people's concern about nuisance properties, dangerous properties, and how do we manage that. And I think going into land use management planning as the answer is problematic, because there's a concern that I have that personal property rights aren't being addressed sufficiently. And I'm a little concerned about taking a plan that seems like it's meant to be a one-size-fits-all and then taking it out through the county, which is not addressing the concerns of Ardmore, which are different from those in Linville and everything in between. The other thing I don't feel like we've done a good job of is assessing the state laws that already address our environmental issues, our issues having to do with people are concerned about an incinerator showing up on their doorstep, et cetera. We have a myriad of state laws that address those concerns. So I think we need to assess those first and find out what the delta is, the difference between what is already covered, which we do not need a plan for, that's covered by statute, and what the issues are, such as a nuisance property, and what statutes are there that already address those things. I've heard that we need something with teeth, and I understand that, because this is a real issue. But putting a blanket zoning law in effect, there are property owners who are concerned about putting up a shed. Do I need to have a permit for that? Will the zoning board approve that? That's a concern to me as far as the personal property rights. So I would like to scratch the land use management plan and start over with an assessment of where we stand with existing statutes and address the real problems such as nuisance properties as a sole issue.
Well, I agree with part of what Graham stated there. The land use management plan has been scrapped. So that's already been done by our county commission. But the issue, land use management, or whether you say zoning, They're one and the same. The issue there is not about being authoritative and telling you what you have to do. It's about protecting your property from other people coming in. These dangerous businesses or nuisance issues as well. I don't know about you, but if I'm at my home, I don't want to look across the street and know that a medical waste facility can come in. There are laws provided by TDEC and EPA and things like that for some of these nuisance facilities. But a lot of times those laws don't tell you you can't go across from my house or your house. They'll simply say what the requirements are, how much you have to scrub the air, or what kind of waste you can and the amount of waste that can go out. So the issue is not that we want to tell you what you can and can't do. The issue is we need some protections from these nuisance places. We don't want your property or my property to be devalued by something coming in that we don't want here in Giles County. I'll give you an example. 2 months ago, I had a gentleman call my office, and he asked the question, can I put a landing strip in my backyard? Let me rephrase it. Can I put a landing strip in my backyard for my private planes? And the answer I had to give him was yes, you absolutely can, because Giles County is wide open right now because we don't have anything in place. This land use management plan has been done away with. And if the FAA says it's okay, then it's okay. And the response I got back was, yes, I can't believe this. So that's where we are with our Giles County. It's not about being authoritative and telling you what color your shutters could be. It's about protecting your property from other people coming in and devaluing it.
Please explain your position on how to determine who is and should be allowed to use Giles County facilities like the Giles County Agri Park.
My position is very straightforward, and I've had a lot of chance to answer this over the last week. If you obey the law, we will allow you to use the park. If it is illegal, we will not allow you to use the park. The Ag Park is our only public park owned by the county. And the rules out there are pretty simple. They're basically clean up after yourself, no alcohol, and obey the laws, state and federal. And if you do that, we're going to rent the facility to you. The issue this past week has been the Pride event. They obeyed the law. We had 6 officers out there the entire event. We had 2 investigators inside the drag shows themselves. There was not a single law broken. The event was legal. Our tax dollars don't need to be used defending Giles County from discrimination lawsuits. Plain and simple. We are the only county that I'm aware of in the state of Tennessee that is debt-free. And to remain that way, we can't be defending ourselves against discrimination when we know legal activities are being done, but we tell someone no because Melissa Green doesn't agree with what they're doing. It's not about my personal beliefs and whether they're right or wrong. It's about upholding the law. And that is the responsibility of the county executive, to do the right thing per the law. So whether it's a church group, whether it's a pride event, whether it's skinheads, if they meet the letter of the law, we will rent the facility to them. And my recommendation is don't go out there and support it if you don't want to. Thank you.
Okay, this may be the major difference of the night. The rules aren't simple. They used to be simple. Now they're not. We had a pride event a year ago that should obviously have been permitted because we didn't have any history with that. But what we learned from that event was that there were minors present during a drag show. Instinctively, I recognize that that's a problem, and I think most of us in here would. The first thing that I recognize is like minors in the presence of a drag show with supposedly people, young children putting dollar bills in the hem of garments. That's a concern to me. The first thing I do is I go to Google and I start looking up Tennessee law. There is a Tennessee law that talks about adult-oriented establishments, minors not being permitted. It talks specifically about cabarets. It talks specifically about male and female impersonators. Now that law is not applicable for enforcing anything at the Ag Park once that event is taking place, but it's absolutely permissible to use that law in not issuing a permit. And that's my stance a week ago, and it's my stance today, is that I would not have let that permit. The lawyers that I've talked to, who are very constitutional lawyers, have said that that is not a concern for a lawsuit because that's your Tennessee law. If anybody was to file a grievance against that, it would be in relation to that law, not us making a unilateral decision. So I'm not making any decision or any opinion here based on my feelings. I'm giving you a state law that I have cited, and that state law addresses whether minors should be in the presence of drag shows. And I think we have state representatives who are going to clarify this even further this year.
All right, our next question, this will be Mr. Stowe will go first. Explain your understanding of the issues surrounding development at exit 14 and what you think is the best strategy to get development started there and other exits.
Okay. I like the suffix to that question because I don't think this is all about exit 14. But I ran for this office 8 years ago and really stressed and emphasized, I thought, and this isn't my idea. Lots of business leaders say exit 14 is our great opportunity to use the interstate corridor and develop some opportunities. And I think Melissa said the same thing 4 years ago. That was a commitment that she was going to work on that, and she did. But we hit a brick wall on exit 14. It is a thorny issue with a lot of legal issues, land ownership issues that we cannot untangle in here, obviously, but I don't even know if they can be untangled. That said, there are other exits. There's exit 1, there's exit 6, there's exit 22. Each of them have advantages. Each of them have some disadvantages. I think exit 22, we'd have to work something out with Marshall County. But I don't know I'm not the smartest guy in the room, so I would like to bring in the EDC and some other business leaders and what's the easiest way to run utilities to some of these exits. But that's got to happen. We can't just hit a brick wall and stop, and I haven't really heard any conversation about how we're going to use the interstate since we stopped on exit 14. So I would like to restart that process as far as how we would pursue development around the interstate and look at, I would still like to revisit exit 14 to see if there's anything that's changed, but also exit 1, exit 6, exit 22, where can we run utilities, and how does the topography of the land and the engineering behind what is required for development there, how can we do that that's most efficient for the county, and then make it happen. We need action beyond the planning.
Graham was right. When he ran 8 years ago, he had the same thoughts I had when I ran 4 years ago. Let's develop exit 14. There's a big field with Realty and a group of people that agree this is what needs to be done. And we did that. In 2018, I gathered a civilian group together to come together and let's look at what are our obstacles to overcome in order to develop exit 14? How do we do this? What do we need to get out of the way that we can do today to be ready when someone comes to that exit and says, I want to develop it? We got through utilities. We looked at the water. Of course, we evaluated the sewer. And Giles County is still paying for the wastewater treatment plant sewer permit so that we are ready when that day comes. We don't have to go through that permitting process again. So we're sitting in a good position. But the problem, as Graham said, is the land availability. We have hit a brick wall. And until something happens different with the landowner, we have exhausted all sources to build out exit 14. But exit 1, exit 6, and exit 22, we're looking at those as well. Through the EDC, we have hired a group called Retail Strategies to come in, and they have the network to bring in retail and commercial development. And as part of that, they're not just looking at the city of Pulaski. They are looking at each of those interstate exits as well to see who we can bring in there that makes the sense and how we can develop that. We brought land developers in to exit 1 at Ardmore to look at housing development as well. So just because we haven't moved, and let's be honest, COVID has put a stall on a lot of things the last 2 years, but those are still in the works, and we still have people evaluating our exits. And just because exit 14 is at a stall, we're not done with it. We're going to keep working and keep trying and keep thinking outside the box until we can get some development done. Those tourism dollars and people stopping getting gas, that's what can develop and bring in some money here and some revenue for Giles County.
Follow me on this next question. Our county, and you mentioned this earlier, Melissa, our county is debt-free, but we're also relatively capital investment-free regarding our school facilities. Most of our current expenditures are repair and maintenance. How important do you feel capital investment in new school facilities are?
Well, I think capital investment in our schools is of the utmost importance, and it should be to each and every one of us. Our education of our children is the future of Giles County. If we don't give them a good education when they're young, 20 years from now, these are our leaders. They're going to be sitting up here at the debate and wanting to lead our county in different directions. So we need to do everything we can in order to provide every opportunity to our children. Now, I am proud to say we have put $3.2 million from the county commission and $3.2 million from our school board together to start phase 1 of renovations and remodeling of all 8 schools. Talking about new school facilities is a very hard sell when you have more and more students moving out of Giles County, but you have to start somewhere. And working on all 8 schools with this phase 1 and putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, is a great step. When I came in here in 2018, the school board and the county commission did nothing but butt heads. Talk and talk and talk, but no action was ever done. This money has already been put into an account to start phase 1. And we know phase 2 is coming. That's going to be substantially more money. And that's going to be things like the facades, the pretty stuff that you're going to see, the doors, the windows, the paint, getting rid of the pipes overhead for all 8 schools. This shows that it's a priority, and I have to thank the school board and the commission for getting on board for that, and I have to thank the city of Pulaski because they also have dedicated $1 million over 5 years to the county school system. And this goes back to that county executive and what it's about, collaboration and getting different personalities to work together. And the betterment of our schools is one of the #1 priorities for this community.
Okay, that was a great question, but the 2 words that I wrote down was how important. And I guess you could, Melissa said it too. It's very important. It's of the utmost importance. I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier about a strategic plan, because a strategic plan drives everything in the county. And right now we don't have that. And a strategic plan will prioritize things like capital investment and place it in a priority and alongside our needs for highways or our needs for a myriad of other things that we need to pursue in this county. So saying it's very important or it's the utmost importance, in my mind, that's not good enough. We need that strategic plan, which is going to really emphasize it. And that way, when we do budgeting, that is going to drive the budget. And if we decide as a group in this collaborative effort that getting a new high school is of utmost importance, it's going to crowd out everything else. That's going to drive the budget. It's going to drive money towards that. And in the meantime, yes, we don't really, I know you didn't inherit a long-range maintenance plan. We need long-range maintenance plans for all of our infrastructure. I don't think that really exists because we need to update and improve and renovate, but at the same time, upkeep and maintain and then look ahead to this capital investment, which is not going to happen in either of our 4-year terms. But the plan's got to start being made, and I really think finding a site for a new high school would be probably a major priority over the next 4 years, because that's got to happen.
Giles County has a current issue of keeping qualified emergency medical service employees, and there are problems with the current EMS facility. As county executive, how would you like to see the county tackle these issues?
Yeah, okay, thank you. It was employees in their building, the other facility? Okay. I've sat in on the meetings where Roy has talked about his shortfalls in paramedics. I've listened to the concerns of citizens who are concerned that we are understaffed in emergency services. Then I talked to my friend who's in Wyoming, and he's telling me the same thing's happening where he is. And then I talked to my friend in Tellico, Eastern Tennessee, and the same thing's there. And Roy has concurred this is a nationwide issue, this shortage of qualified personnel in emergency services. And I'll be the first to tell you in any situation when I don't have the right answer to this, and it's particularly concerning when this is apparently a nationwide issue, because I'm not just gauging this assessment based on 2 conversations with other people. It is something I've looked up, you probably have too. This is a nationwide issue. One of the things we need to look at is pay parity for our EMS employees. We need to retain the great guys that we have right now. So we don't want to lose the ones that we have trained up. I know one of the concerns is we get them qualified and they can find slightly better pay in an adjoining county and they're gone. So pay parity is a huge issue for emergency services. It is for our teachers as well. As far as the building goes, I know there's an evaluation that's already taken place. We're looking at, I think we're looking to put a bid in on a new building. There's no question that we need a new building. The current facility is outdated, it's too small. I think this has been going on for 4 years as to whether to build new, or I think we finally found at the Baptist Association a facility that can be renovated. And if that's something that I inherit, that decision's been made, then we need to move forward and make it happen, because I think we've been wringing our hands over for quite a while. Something's got to happen with that. Thank you.
As Graham said, I agree completely. This is not a Giles County issue to be short with our EMS staff. Paramedics and EMTs and advanced EMTs are short nationwide. Every county around us is doing the same thing we are, scrambling to find a way to keep our wonderful men and women that work for our service here. We don't get to just talk about this topic. In my office, we've had to address it. We've had 2 years of COVID, and as we may all be sitting here, nearly all of us mask-free and not having COVID in the back of our heads, they still deal with it every single day. It's not done for our EMS service. It's something we still have to deal with, and it gives a toll of the wear and tear on our men and women in the service. So we haven't been able to just sit and talk about it. We've had to do action. And that action we've taken in this last few months is we have moved to a new schedule. Instead of 24/48, which means they work 24 hours and they're all 48, we are shifting to a 24/72 schedule. We were the second county in the state of Tennessee to do this. This has come after much thought with other department heads, with our county commission, with other people in the profession, to say, what can we do? How do we think outside the box to help this service? And we're going to give it a try. Do we think it'll answer everything and take care of, we'll be fully staffed next month? Probably not, but we hope that it helps. And as far as the building goes itself, we need a new building. We have talked about it, and it goes beyond the 4 years that I've been in the office. And finally, we are moving in a direction. We are about to put an offer in on the Baptist Association. If that falls through, then it's about time that we put an offer on some property to build what we need to build. That building was not set up for the size of our trucks in this day and age, and it was not set up for the number of employees that we are going to have.
Real quick, we're getting real close to the end of time, but you guys are having such a good conversation. I'd like that you pick one more question for both of them, and then we'll do the wrap-ups.
This is a little more subjective, and we'll give you an opportunity to be more comment than question. Give an example. Think of an example of something that you see as a great asset in Giles County that could be built upon or developed upon.
first. I bet we have the same answer. The greatest asset in this county are the people. I have not yet come across an issue to which I don't know the answer, where if you talk to enough people and the right people, the answers are there. And I've seen where a family is hurting or an individual is hurting, or they are, when I say hurting, a medical emergency arises. We do not rely on outsiders to come in and fix that for us. It's a community effort. So the people of this community, the communities who are engaged with each other, loving one another, the families are knit together tightly here, the friendships are knit together tightly here. I thank you all for having adopted me 12 years ago when I left my military career and wanted to find a home for my family. This is a great place to be. But that is the primary asset of this community and any community that's going to succeed and progress through the future. It's the relationships that we all have and share with one another.
And Graham, we don't always agree on a lot of things, but you were right. It's the exact same answer. The people, you can't beat it. I say nearly every week when I'm on the radio at some point in time, I say the thing that makes for Giles County the greatest county in the state and in the country, as far as I'm concerned, are the people. And if you grew up here and you never lived anywhere else, it's your norm. But I'm telling you, it's not the norm where you go other places. And it's exactly what he said. When we have someone that's suffering or going through a hard time, this community rallies unlike anywhere else. And they're there for each other, and they're there through the thick and thin to have each other's backs. And it's an easy answer. It comes to you real quick. I was the same way. Exact thing went through my head. The people are what makes Giles County great. And the people are what makes us able to do so much, because we work together to move forward. Thanks.
All right, I would like to, now what we had planned on doing was giving everybody, after all the questions, if you wanted to add something about any of the questions. But what I think I'll do is just go ahead and give you guys each a minute and a half to wrap up, okay? So we'll start with Melissa on the wrap up, and you'll have a minute and a half to do that.
Okay, thanks. Well, again, I just appreciate everybody being out here and giving us an opportunity to give you a little bit of information about ourselves. With 2 minutes to answer questions, you didn't get much. So I would ask you to come see me, come talk to me, give me a call, and ask me your specific questions that you want to know about. We have had 4 years under my leadership, and in these 4 years, we have faced a worldwide pandemic that none of us saw coming, and we weathered that well. If you look at our community, our downtown is booming with new boutiques and new restaurants. We have got new industry that has come in. We are doing projects in our school system and putting money into our industries. And we've done all of this by remaining debt-free through every bit of it. And not only debt-free, we have not increased the property taxes 1 cent in these 4 years and have still made progress through all of this. I think that's substantial. I think that's great. And I think we have a momentum that we want to continue moving forward to the next 4 years. So today I ask for your vote to be reelected as county executive. And thank you for being here tonight.
There's no question that wonderful things are happening in our community and that businesses are opening and thriving, and that's going to continue. Venture capitalists and small business owners are making those things happen. My question is, what does the county executive do, and what have they done, or what have we done over the last 4 years to prepare us for the future, to prepare us for 2030 or 2040? Because in all fairness, we as leaders can't take credit for things that everybody else is making happen that's good in our county. And we have spent $16 million a year. That's the general fund. And you can't help but do good things when you're spending that kind of money. There's no question that we have seen some progress. We do not have a strategic plan for the future. And that is what I would like to do. I've been stressing it here tonight as much as I can. That is a collaborative effort. This is not going to be a strategic plan of Graham Stowe. But it's got to be done so that we can prioritize all these things we talked about tonight. And everything from exit 6 and 1 to our new school that we're going to need, to helping those small businesses come and thrive on our square. So I request your vote as well, because I want to be a part of the solutions that prepare us for success in Giles County, looking 2030 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you guys once again. I could sit there and listen to you guys talk for another hour, but I'm afraid we got other people here that want to talk. If you guys will give us just a moment, we're going to set the table up for the next session, which will be the 22nd Judicial Circuit Judges.